Good morning. Welcome back to Central Ontario. About negative 12 degrees today. We're supposed to get a little bit of sun, but we've had some snow again this morning. Yesterday you saw that I snow plowed the driveway out, and today what I wanted to do is to test the adjustment on the rear blade. For those of you that have been watching the channel, I think 2 videos ago, number 24, we made an adjustment to the rear blade to move it over to the right to get it to extend outside the footprint of the tractor so I could reach out more into the side of the driveway to clear it out. And today we're going to test that out. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and come along for the ride. Okay, so yesterday we took the snowblower up the driveway, cleared it all out, except I purposely left this piece of the driveway here in this area because I wanted to use it as part of the test for the rear blade adjustment. So, you know, for those of you that have gravel driveways, there really is no flat areas, but this is relatively flat here, or about as close as flat as we're going to get. So in addition to testing it on the actual driveway up and down through the forest, I wanted to try it on this relatively flat area first. So we had a little bit of snow, you know, maybe a half an inch to an inch this morning, so not much. But I left this ridge here in this whole area so that we could test the blade through here first, see how it worked, and then we're going to take it up the driveway. Alrighty, so let's grab the tractor, warm it up, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so quick recap. Remember I got the 1672, so it's a 72-inch blade, and talked to my dealer before I purchased it because you want to make sure if you're using a blade in the back, you want it long enough that it's going to extend outside the footprint of the tractor. When I bought the blade, I didn't buy any fancy frills or hydraulics or anything, as you can see, because I was, one, watching my dollars, and two, I'm kind of new to tractors, and I know you can add the hydraulics on later if you want. There were different models out on the market. Some were simple and basic and manual like this one. Some of them had the ability to swing the blade out to the left or the right of the tractor by pulling pins. This one here, as you know from the last 2 videos ago, this is more manual. It was pretty simple to do. You just had to remove 6 bolts, slide the moldboard over, and you were able to get reach. So I just wanted to take a look here. So we've already adjusted it, but basically before we adjusted it, when the moldboard sits in its normal position, it's 72 inches, sits about, the footprint of the tractor is about 49 inches, so it leaves you, I think, about 11 inches or so, roughly 10 or 11 inches on either side of the footprint of the tractor. However, when I'm going down through the forest, it's only leaving me about 10 or 11 inches. The other challenge is, of course, you usually want to angle that blade so that you're pushing the snow away or pulling it into the middle, whichever you want to do. And as soon as you angle the blade, right, and you start to turn it, you lose some of the distance that sits outside of the footprint. So the purpose today, or the purpose of the adjustment, was to take it, undo the bolts, slide the moldboard over another 12 inches so it hangs out the right side of the tractor a lot further. So when I tilt it now, I've still got a good amount of blade that sits outside the footprint, so as I'm driving through the driveway, I can get a longer reach out into the side of the driveway, you know, so that I'm not taking my snowblower into the rocks and the woods and things. One of the challenges I realized after putting the blade and adjusting it is that because I didn't get one of the more, you know, sophisticated models that allows you to swing it out left or right, I realized that I'm now stuck with the blade hanging out on the right side, which means in normal driveways or, you know, in the low-lying areas that undulate, I should be fine dragging it. But when I get to that big hill, and if you've been watching my channel, you know the big hill, there is no chance I'm pulling that blade up going up that steep hill. So that means I'm going to be able to come down the hill on one side, but I certainly am not going to be able to come down the hill on the other side without taking the bolts out and swinging it out to the right side of the tractor. So anyways, a little bit of a drawback, but I think overall I'm still happy. It was a great purchase, good brand, I think, well built. And maybe in the future I might buy the hydraulic package, I'm not sure, but either way, we're going to give this guy a shot today. So one of the other things you'll notice is when you're using the rear blade, depending on whether you have a crown in the middle of the driveway or not, you'll notice that as it drops to the ground on your 3-point hitch, you may have to adjust your left lower arm to adjust for, you know, what you might want even, or if you want to drop it a little bit. because now that it's hanging out a long way, you'll find that as you drop it, it's not necessarily going to drop flat, right? So what I think is helpful is I'm going to have to give this guy a little adjustment just to try to make sure I'm not digging into the crown in the middle of the driveway while I'm dragging it. So as I mentioned to you, I'm going to try to set up cameras. We're going to do the flat area here first, see how it pulls and how much extension I get, and stick around and let's see if we can get her to clear up some snow on the sides. Okay. It's not doing too bad, actually. Did really well. Got a little slippery here coming up this little incline, but I think I mentioned it earlier. After we had that big rainfall, we had a snap freeze and everything froze. So basically underneath the snow, it's all ice all the way out to the concession road. So I think we probably started slipping on some ice back there as the blade was getting full, but it's working pretty good. I'm only getting about maybe 10 inches out the side of the snowblower, or sorry, out the side of the tractor. But it's certainly widening it a little bit, pushing it back a bit into the forest. So let's give her a few more tries before we wrap this up. I'm really happy with it. It's dragging nice on the ice and on the gravel because everything's frozen. So let's take another run down the road a little bit, give her another shot, and then I'll wrap it up. Okay, I think it worked pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with it. It's scraping down nice. Now that the ground is nice and frozen and solid, the blade's able to scrape across the ice and not dig up too much gravel. A couple of things I noticed. Your blade is sitting outside of the footprint of the tractor, but you also have to remember the front snowblower is a 60-inch snowblower, so it's also pushed outside of the tractor footprint. So as you're going down these the sides, and you've already got a mound here of about a foot, you know, in some places a little more than a foot, a little less than a foot in other places, but your blade's trying to pull, but I'm also trying to keep my snowblower out of the snowbank, which means I'm losing distance on the side as well. The other thing I noticed is when you get into these deeper, higher snowbanks, the drag on the tractor with all the snow piling up into the blade pulls the tractor and makes the tractor want to swing it out away from the snowbank or into the snowbank, depending on whether you're going straight or you're cornering. Little thanks to a couple of the subscribers I mentioned in my last video. I didn't realize that you can separate the brake pedals and use the brake pedals to help steer, which is exactly what I did down this last hill, this little slope that we just came down, because as it was pulling and the blade was filling with snow and it was trying to drag into these bigger snowbanks, it started, you probably saw the tractor started pulling away, and I was able to step on the left brake a few times to kind of brake it a bit, to straighten it a little bit. So anyways, I'm pretty happy overall. Got lots more to do today, and it's a beautiful day actually. Snow's coming down again. Yeah, so I'm gonna stick around for a little while myself. I'm gonna go play for a little bit up the driveway because I think I'm gonna do a little more snow blowing and maybe try the blade out because I've got a lot of practice to get used to it. But thanks a lot for sticking around today. Have a great week. We'll see you again. Cheers.